The subject of conspiracy theories is undoubtedly a topic we are eager to hear about. Sometimes we even realize that things we hear are total rubbish, but our brain cannot escape from it nevertheless. Well, that's the way it is. Of course, it is known that the biggest fun is when a given theory has a good chance of turning into reality, but often there aren't many of these. Anyway, as you probably already guessed from the title of the episode, we can also find out about many interesting conspiracy theories by playing GTA games. Therefore, today we will mainly delve into the world of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to see what strange, terrifying, and amazing theories the developers wanted to inform players about. And now, let's get to work. At the beginning, we will look at the theories that appear in Area 53, hosted by Marvin Trill. Of course, the link to the program will be in the description below. The first theory that we find there concerns the so-called artificial planets. Marvin mentions that such planets can be made as a decoy to confuse society.
Planet found in space. Is it really a planet or a decoy put up to confuse us?
There are assumptions that artificial planets were generated using computers and displayed through the mass media. As you can guess, it would be difficult to physically create an object with the dimensions of a planet, so we think that such a fake planet would only be shown on television, for example. Then, the government-run media could broadcast such planet constantly and say that an Earth-like planet that is habitable has been found. Consequently, this would lead to the expected confusion and euphoria. Expected because governments would have a nice excuse to rake up national funds for themselves. The narrative of such theft would be very simple, and barely anyone would become more suspicious. The next concept, also related to the world of astronomy, concerns the moon landing. As a curiosity that most of you probably know, we would like to remind you that in GTA Vice City in the film studio, you can find a model of the moon's surface, which of course refers to the event from 1969. Such great moments in the history of mankind, of which the documentation is really complex, are often questioned. Due to the complexity of such situations, it is relatively easy to find arguments proving that this is fake. In GTA San Andreas, the Truth himself also mentions this theory. It takes place during the mission Wear Flowers in Your Hair, and in the context of Area 53, one of the callers was a truck driver who was a fierce supporter of this conspiracy theory. Anyway, listen for yourself.
Listen to Jethro. Now what if I told you we never went to the moon?
You're on the line.
Yeah, hi. I'm a truck driver and listen to your show all the time. I see a lot of unexplained phenomena out there, especially in restrooms. I agree with you about the moon. We never landed on the moon. It's such a good fake.
Another unusual theory concerns whether women are made of sand. For the first time, we hear about this rumor in GTA 3 from a listener on Chatterbox FM. As for the statement itself, you will probably admit that it sounds quite absurd and humorous. However, what could this theory be about? One of the key answers may be feminine delicacy or perhaps fragility, which can be compared to sand. You will often hear that this trait is not necessarily because women are usually physically weaker than men, but rather because they are more emotional. While surfing on the internet, we even managed to find a novel entitled Woman Made of Sand, which also connects nicely with what is mentioned in the game. Let us know if you have any other clues about this theory. Moving on, another quite interesting conspiracy idea relates to the harmfulness of fluoride. As you know, fluoride is widely used in the treatment of caries and oral cavity care in general. However, its abuse can cause many undesirable and unpleasant ailments. And here again, we first move to GTA 3, because it turns out that Chatterbox FM has a person who fully believes in it. Let's hear what he has to say.
Fluoride is evil, dude. And toothpaste, they use it to control us. Why do you think all the commercials tell you to brush it twice a day? I've read books.
And what book have you been reading that tells you that toothpaste is evil?
Dentures, the Devil, and the Great Cavity Cover-Up by J. Phil Higginbottom. If you'd seen what I've seen, and if you've heard what I've heard, you'd never brush your teeth again.
In GTA San Andreas, we find out that this conspiracy theory also has its supporters.
On the conspiracy line, caller, you're in Area 53.
Do not use fluoride. It's evil. It made me kill my doctor.
Why would we worry about a chemical that the government puts into the water? Animals can now be trained to fly, including several species of bird. Think about the military applications.
Next up, we will now move on to the plot of the game, specifically to the Truth, and discuss his theories, which can be heard during the single campaign. The first conspiracy that the Truth himself strongly believes is mind control by government satellites. In connection with this theory, there are many interesting and often very abstract rumors. As for our world, they have already been statements in the past, for example, related to the fact that telephones are a control tool used by world governments. In turn, in the game itself, you can see that Truth strongly believes in this to the extent that his vehicle is covered on the inside with a special aluminum foil, which is supposed to interrupt satellite signals to avoid possible tracking. Leaving this theory aside and going straight to the next one, we will talk about number 23. During the mission, Are You Going to San Fierro?, Truth mentions few interesting coincidences. He claims that in 1992, the US allegedly had 23 satellites and that as many as 23 holy relics are stored in the Pentagon.
Do you know how many government satellites are watching any citizen at any moment?
No.
23. Do you know how many religious relics are kept at the Pentagon?
No, I don't.
23.
Coincidence? We guess so, because it's hard to verify this theory in any way, really. However, if you could find something out, we would be grateful if you could write the results in the comment. Another hypothesis by the Truth is that one of the former US presidents, John F. Kennedy, survived an attempt on his life. The tragedy occurred on November 22, 1963 in Dallas. While the vast majority believed that Kennedy had indeed died, there were groups of people who vehemently denied this. Even today, we can find many arguments from various sides that challenge not only the fact that Kennedy was killed, but also who ordered the murder itself. The Truth also contributes to all of this by saying that Kennedy is still alive and lives in Scotland with Janis Joplin, a world-famous singer. Interesting thing, right?
JFK lives in Scotland with Janis Joplin.
Meanwhile, it's time to leave the Truth and talk about Mike Torino, who also has some knowledge on conspiracy theories. We can even prove this because of the fact that Torino's reading a book on conspiracy theories in a quest called Verdant Meadows. Going back to the main point, the first theory is about the circumstances of Adolf Hitler's death. If we look at history, be it through an encyclopedia, some textbook, or Wikipedia, we find out that Hitler committed suicide a few seconds before the Commonwealth forces caught him in his bunker. Specifically, he and his wife, Eva Braun, swallowed the poison and then both shot each other in the head with a pistol. However, the theory suggests that Hitler and his wife did not commit suicide and even managed to escape from Berlin. Although a lot of interesting evidence has been presented over the years, mainly based on documentation from that period, all presumptions have been unanimously rebutted. However, in the game itself, Torino still mentions this topic during the Verdant Meadows mission.
It's amazing.
What's up now, Torino?
This history, it's all lies. It says Hitler killed himself.
Another, and the last conspiracy theory that we will talk about in this episode, comes again from the mission Verdant Meadows. The theory relates that it was not the United States that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
This history, it's all lies. It says Hitler killed himself, and then we nuked Japan. And people believe this shit. Jesus.
And here, frankly speaking, it was difficult for us to find any conspiracy theories that would suggest a country other than the United States was responsible for the bombing. And on this conspiracy theory, we will end today's video. We recommend that you have a look at the material in which we show the possibilities of earning more money in certain tasks in GTA 3 and Vice City. In the meantime, take care and see you soon.